Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the discourses on personality and competency. We looked at the binary side of the trait game. Let's call it a trait game now. Whenever we come to interpersonal dialogue, and we understood the alarming possibilities of analysis, and we alarmed ourselves with the kind of confusions we'll have when somebody is performing in front of us. We are alarmed by that, and therefore we must have a matrix, we must have a model, we must have a method through which we understand the person. Otherwise, we can't get away by having false understanding about him. Would you like to do this? Would you like to do this? Imagine tomorrow you have a teacher, and teacher gets away with all the answers which are wrong because the student cannot make out the difference between wrong and right. Would that take us anywhere? Would that take us anywhere? So it is in our rightness, it is in our goodness to try and understand people. The better we understand, the better we are in consolidating our life position. We consolidate position in our life. We create life around us by having a better understanding about people. I hope there are no two ways about it. If there's any other way, please shun it. Please shun that way. We'll have a small experiment on how to we'll do a small experiment and see how does a trait manifest itself in real time. We've no doubt done basket tests, we've done basket situations and understood our performance, but fresh we can see it in real terms, and while the life is ticking away, how do these traits activate themselves? Right? Ready? In order to facilitate the needs of all three spheres of our living, that is professional, public business, social, and personal, we look at trait demonstrations of the trait activity in each of the three spheres of living. May we begin with the business sphere. We have one of the lowest in terms of accident proneness and highest in terms of ... We are one of the lowest in terms of accident proneness ... accident proneness and highest in terms of ... This is a competitive trait. This is competitiveness, demonstration of competitiveness. As I see it, somebody may look at the context slightly differently and arrive at some other conclusion. That's absolutely all right. Nothing forbidden here. It'll only be called a more creative view of the world. Next, actually, you don't need to invest in order booking. I can suggest you a supplier who can give you ... This is all adult communication, so they can go on, they'll be paragraphical. But as far as the leitmotif of his talk is concerned, we should be able to get a reasonable understanding about what he is talking about, as here he's exhibiting his commercial trait. Actually, you don't need to invest in order booking. I can suggest you a supplier who can give you ... probably give you material off the shelf, so don't spend your money in booking the order, etc., etc. So that's commercial. Next, That means you are changing the valve every 7 days. That would also mean that you have downtime minimum 3 hours and a trial run of 1 hour per change of the valve. Hear this out again. That means you're changing the valve every 7 days. That would also mean that you have a downtime of minimum 3 hours and a trial run of 1 hour per change. He's calculative. He's demonstrating his calculative trait. Next. It is ranging between 82 degrees centigrade to 88 degrees centigrade at 4000 rpm rotations per minute. However, at below 330 rpm rotations per minute, the operative temperatures could be maintained at ... whatever that figure is. They're all adult men, so they're going to be paragraphical about everything. By paragraphing, they're only adding more traits per trait. More trait for trait. I hope we remember this phenomena and we will execute that, we'll demonstrate that, how it works. So it's ranging between 82 degrees to 88 degrees at 4000 rpm. However, at below 330 rpm, the operative temperature would be maintained at ... That's, ladies and gentlemen, for you a definitive trait, a very definitive man. Next, it's best to ask a product application engineer to study the matter. It's best to ask a product application engineer to study the matter careful. He's trying to get somebody's intellectual enterprising to offer to to offer and advise the right advice. He's being careful, Mr. Careful. Next, if you want to use bends, you will have to lengthen the pipe requirement. What I mean is, can we bring down the pipe requirement itself? If we use bend, it will increase the pipe requirement. What I mean is, can we bring down the pipe requirements itself? That's enterprising. Many shopkeepers, many dealers talk this language. You can be mindful of how they converse in their roles. Individuality role, two roles, is a big path-breaking idea of living, and it will require a very advanced discussions that will wait for future. If you want to use bends, you will have to lengthen the pipe requirement. That means we have to bring down the. That means we should bring out the pipe requirements itself. That's enterprising. Next, what if you keep drying the unit without switching off the stirrer? Well, you can use a hot air dryer. What if we keep drying the unit without switching off the stirrer? Well, you can use a hot dry air or hot air dryer. That's probably not being done in the industry, so he is Mr. Experimentative. Now, we are all talking about business situations, so please bear with us. Those who have never experienced the industry, never experienced an office work, please bear with us. It's there, it's going to follow you in a short while from now as you enter a brighter future after your studies. I could open the design from your website. That's initiative. It's your website, it's your design, but I could open it from here. Metal compositions of aluminum has minimum 0.8%... Metal composition of aluminum has minimum 0.8%... He is Mr. Knowledgeable. Can we fix up a capacity requirement for 5,600 liters per minute? Can we fix the capacity requirement to 5,600 liters per minute? That's Mr. Finisher. Next, we have a complete range of metal skin cold protection, although it is the other division of ours which is selling it. I will arrange for their meeting with your process research head. That's very clinical. I love it. That's very clinical. Right now, we are not in a position to talk about multiple trait and the manipulations within that. It has to wait. It's a very advanced science. So far, we'll hold ourselves with just one analysis that this is Mr. Opportunistic. He's trying to create business for the other division too. Mr. Opportunistic. Next. So if you remember earlier on, you had mentioned a factor of compulsory replacement. So why discuss the product life issue here? In any case, it is much more than your replacement criteria. So if you remember earlier on, you had mentioned a factor of compulsory replacement. So why discuss the product life issue here? In any case, it is much more than your replacement criteria. That's Mr. Listener. He's heard this before and he's connecting it here. So he's demonstrating how well is he listening. Next. Sir, now that we have fixed up a capacity demand, we can proceed to estimate the consumables in proportion to the expected capacity utilization. That's Mr. Systematic. We'll look into another trait last for this chapter, for this session. Sir, we can't beat science. As long as the density is lower, you can't make it sink. It would therefore be easily removed from the froth collectors. So, we can't beat science. As long as the density is lower, you can't make it sink. It could therefore be easily removed through the froth collectors. That's Mr. Teacher. That's Mr. Teacher. So all these traits are going to be manifested through different words and different actions. And we will have to notice it in order that a sense of brethren grows, a sense and happiness with people grows. Otherwise, we can end up being misunderstood ourselves because we tend to jolly well misunderstand others. We can't afford that tag. So more of this next time. Thank you very much for being with me. See you again next time.